Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. Apologize for being a few minutes late, or a few seconds late, that is. The way things work in life, I received a phone call at 3:29 that I've been waiting for pretty much for a while. And of course, I had to pass my phone off to Jenna so she can talk to the person on my behalf. And then we got a lot of things going on with the house and air conditioner units and all the fun stuff. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Hopefully the screen looks all right. I'll kind of raise everything up a little bit. So yeah, just kind of scrambling around today. It's been kind of busy. Been out in the garage, of course, doing my thing, working. Mondays are always one of those things for me where, we deal with like the residual shipping. We get the shipping done as much as we can Sunday evening, but then Monday rolls around and sales happen overnight after we're done shipping and stuff like that. So it's just kind of crazy. I have my shipping out waiting for the mail carrier to arrive. If they ain't here within an hour, I've got to shoot out to the post office, because you guys know how that is. You guys got to get that in by 5 o'clock. So just trying to adjust to a new setup, a new system, and it can be kind of chaotic. The old place, I had my mail carrier coming at 11 o'clock, 11:30. Once they're here and done, I don't have to worry about anyone knocking on my door. But now it's just a lot more problematic, I'd say. So hopefully you guys can bear with me. Again, sorry for being late. For those of you guys who are with us live, I see you guys are already commenting. Please put your questions in the comments in the chat. That way you can help me get through this program. I'm only going to go about an hour today, but I can't even get there without your input. If you're watching this after the fact, please put your comments down below. And no matter how you're watching it, I just ask to hit that like button. That's really all I ask for. Have you guys noticed behind me, I got these stands, or these mounts for the lights now. So don't have to worry about nothing falling off the wall or anything like that, like last time. And sort of apologize for that. It wasn't even an idea that I had to even put the lighting up in this room until like literally 30 minutes before showtime on Friday. So we fixed the problem, and we're hopefully going to move on to bigger and better things. Want to say hi to No One Design 2, and we've established it was No One Design 2 and not Number One Design 2. We have Biff Boffo in the house. We have Art Betshold. We have my buddy Biscuit Butt. We have Tommy the Great Bernard Podcast. Let's see, Savage Pickers in the house, and Semperfi 1918. So we got about 30 people right now in the chat, and it looks like we're going to be up to hopefully about 75 to 100. Hopefully we can break the 100 mark today. Wanted to, just something that came across my email on eBay, and I'm sure it came across your email. As of the 20th of September, or on the 20th of September, there's going to be yet more item specifics and category changes that you guys should be aware of. It's always a good idea, if you're selling in one of these categories, to know that something's different, or when you're filling out your listings, when you're trying to figure out what category to list something in, something might be different than what you're normally used to seeing. Well, parts and accessories is one category, and from what I understand, I think that's eBay Motors, if I'm not mistaken. But there's scooter parts, ATV side by side and UTV parts and accessories, motorcycle and scooter parts, motorcycle maintenance, stands, and towing. Okay, so that's the eBay Motor side. And then you have the collectibles, pinbacks, and lunch boxes. So if you're into collectibles and sell pinbacks and lunch boxes. Last thing is home and garden. That's probably the one that would affect me. Home and garden. I do have some items that fall into the home and garden category. And you will notice that here on the 20th, now, in the past, our sales have kind of went wonky when they made the changes in certain categories. You're going to find that an item that you are used to listing in a certain category, you are now going to be forced to try a different category for that item, different item specifics. So this just expect here in about a month or so. You got a month's notice to be prepared for these changes. And I always cringe when eBay does this because you just never know. You get a lot of people complain about stuff not rolling out properly, and their sales go down, and this, that, and the other thing. And of course, around the corner is going to be that fall seller update and that winter seller update. I guess they're kind of combined like they usually are. And hopefully eBay doesn't make too many changes, except for one. And it's a change that they promised that still hasn't rolled out. And that's the instant payment on best offer purchases. We're still waiting for that. I had one the other day, sold this Amtrak travel blanket. You guys know that that's where I used to work. And we had a lot of stuff that you get as prizes, employee appreciation, that kind of thing. Sold it for like $40, and it's pretty nice. But of course, they sent me a message saying, "Hey, I'm going to send you a payment today." I think it's someone that views the channel, believe it or not, because they sent me a message, "Hey, buddy, sorry about the delay in getting the payment to you." Really nice and friendly. And so I'm hopeful that they're going to follow through and get it paid. So that way I can just get it mailed out. I'm just excited to get that out of my hair. I've been trying to tell myself I need to get the video out to you guys showing you my garage, but it's still a kind of a hot mess in the sense that I'm trying to get stuff sorted out of one side of the garage. And a lot of that stuff I have to get listed. So I've been working out there, trying to get that stuff listed. I realize it's probably not going to be 100% what I want it to be to show you guys, but I want to at least give you guys an idea of how I set it up. I can tell you right now, aside from all the madness I have going on, when you first move into a house and getting things set up, once I get past that, I'm going to be much more productive with my listing habits. It's just so much better. Have a little AC unit out there too. And, all I have to do is throw my music on and get into a zone, and I don't have obstacles in my way like I had at the last location. So I guess what that video will end up being is sort of maybe motivation to get you, you may not be moving anytime soon, but you still have that. I'm in a 2-car garage. I think most of us are. Some are only in a 1-car, and some are fortunate to have 3. But if you have that situation, it's just cluttered, it's not working for you, maybe this will give you some ideas to pull everything out of that garage and to reorganize it and get yourself on track before Q4 starts, and you'll be ready to go. So that's kind of one of the videos I want to make for you here coming soon. Aside from that, really read some things about people aren't really happy about the new feedback system. The new feedback is really kind of convoluted. It's not set up the same way that people were used to, and there's some people that aren't really happy with it. I have mine set to automatic. Mine's leaving automatic feedback after the buyer has left positive feedback for me, and it works. So as long as that's one task I don't have to deal with, I'm happy. But there's some people that would prefer to leave their own manual positive feedback, and that's sort of not sitting well with some people. Biff Boffo says, eBay created havoc in my category last October, and it basically cost me a week's worth of sales and a lot of repair work. I had thousands of required and recommended item specifics. And, in light of the fact that there is an importance. I mean, when someone's doing a best match search and they're using the filter down the left side to try to filter out the hundreds, maybe even thousands of listings that are just in their face, trying to find that one perfect item that they're looking for, to have the item specifics correct. And there's a lot of people reported that, they're looking at their item specifics and it relates in no way, shape, or form to the item that they're listing. And there is no other category. They check the other categories. That is the category for the item they're selling. And I see it quite often too. I sell a lot of different things. And there's times that I'll have to put C description, and I'm using that instead of NA now because I put more item specific stuff in the description. And that way, they can go, it prompts them to maybe take a look at the description anyway. But I'm seeing a lot of listings where I just doesn't make sense why they're asking me for that particular information. I don't see that being fixed anytime soon. And let's just pray that they don't foul something up here in October, September, October, right before Q4. And it's happened from what I've counted now twice, where people's listings have been ghosted or pretty much destroyed or gone, maybe even removed, because of the updates that they've put into place prior to Q4. So let's just hope that doesn't happen. We have Art Betzold in the house. Thanks for hanging out. Biscuit Butt says, what's up, FAE family? Is this a stock video or the real thing? This is stock. The real thing I had to scrap, so I apologize for that. And Tommy says it's CGI. Yeah, this is definitely CGI. It's well done, actually. No One Design says, hey, John, the hit the like work light is back on the wall. Yeah, it's back. It's not falling anywhere, I promise you. And we try to go with a little bit of purple. I'm going to try to get some blackout curtains in here because, there's a little too much light, in my opinion, coming in the room. I mean, just for my own aesthetic purposes. And, I have stuff on the wall that has a lot of glare and this, that, and the other thing. Something I'm going to be adding here, and I get a lot of that stuff. I get a lot of those blackout curtains and stuff like that in my palettes. So don't know if I'm just going to wait or just pick one up, but expect to see that pretty soon. Savage Pickers, hello all, sold a set of Limoges de Matase today. I have no idea what that is, but maybe you can help me learn what that is. It's been around for a while, so I'm glad it finally sold. Had a few smaller sales as well. So that's awesome. Again, Semper Fi is here, and Biscuit Butt says, the ghost thought John said hit the light and not hit the like last time. Yeah. And that ghost did listen and hit the light button and it knocked it down. Not sure if his vintage says, hey, John, Tommy Lurkers. So, yeah, Tommy is in the house. He missed the show last week on Friday, and we still got through it, but it wasn't quite the same. Emporium, etc., sitting back, feet up, ready to absorb all the knowledge. I think you might have to look at the chat for most of the knowledge because Tommy is in the house, and you're going to get a lot of good information from him. Savage Pickers says, not looking forward to the changes. It was a nightmare for me last year. But yeah, I mean, unless you're selling in these categories, I mean, if you're selling collectibles, pinbacks, and lunch boxes. So if you have anything like that, be prepared for maybe a potential issue. Otherwise, you should be okay. Ping G says, I only list in collectibles. So there's changes coming to item specifics. But again, just to those two kind of items, pinbacks and lunch boxes. Pinbacks being what, like a pin or a badge, that type of thing. That might affect me in my other account since I sell some types of the military pins. Disgruntled Octopus, morning all. Morning out in or down in Australia, I take it. Let's see here. Tommy says, whenever they do item-specific category changes, I've always found bulk and relist whole store or at least affected categories keeps the sailing smooth. So maybe a bulk edit. But again, if you're selling in collectibles or any other type of category that doesn't interact with these, pinbacks, lunch boxes, if you're not selling in home and garden, if you're not selling in eBay Motors, then theoretically you shouldn't have to deal with any problems at all. Let's see. Biscuit Butt, John, you'll be on your 10th house by the time eBay decides to make buyers pay offers up front. No, that's it, man. I'm telling you right now, I ain't leaving this place. I'm going to make it my own, and I'm just going to be done with it. And I'm working on that. I think I've worked on that mostly in the garage. It's funny. And this is kind of unrelated to selling, but as far as Biscuit Butt, I told him, I said, dude, come over. I'm making I made some ribs on the smoker, some chicken, and some sauteed shrimp, homemade mac and cheese, had the whole spread. Said, come on over. There's plenty here. And he was like, no, I can't do that. And invited him to the house to come check it out. And I'm still waiting for him to come over. So you guys might get a chance to see it before he does on my upcoming video. Barbara Guvin, I'm wanting to find out if the heat messes up any merchandise. Should it be air conditioned? I got to tell you, I store my merchandise in the garage. We're talking 115-degree days, and I would say unless we're talking like wax candles, things that can easily melt, then you're okay. I think you'll be fine. And I haven't had any issues with the merchandise I have in my garage. Tommy says 100%. The least amount of decisions and headspace taken up is always a win. I'll never understand doing feedback manually. Can't leave negatives, so it's irrelevant. It means really nothing, right? It doesn't really mean anything. It's just one task that, one of the most annoying things that I encounter every once in a while, well, not anymore, but it used to be, is a buyer who will contact me and say, when are you going to leave me positive feedback? And it's like, well, okay. Now I think I might get one every once in a while because they haven't left me positive feedback. And I'll come back at them and I'll say, you know what, we don't consider that the transaction is actually completed until you've left a positive feedback. I mean, that's how Mercari works. Mercari, the buyer gets the item. They have 3 days to leave a feedback. In fact, they're prompted to before the seller gets their money. And, I think it just works. To expect someone to give feedback on eBay, I mean, come on. I mean, unless you're really that concerned and you're trying to build up an account. But I think there's nicer ways of doing that than just to come at a seller like that. Noah Design says, hit the like button, guys. I appreciate that. And then Newtman 66, anyone else see slow sales? I started out strong this month. Now I'm dying on the vine. You know what? Same thing for me. I mean, I could pull up my sales. I was looking at it earlier, and it is telling me now. Here's the thing that I'm kind of worried about on my end. I think my slower sales has a lot to do with the fact that my store has shrunk by over 150 items in the last month. Now, of course, they don't just vanish. So the good news is those items have sold through eBay and through Mercari. I've had a lot of sales on Mercari. I had another like 8 over the weekend. And every time I get a sale on Mercari, go in and delete the item on eBay. So I'm having 2 different platforms just absorbing my items, and I am not listing more items that I'm selling, and which is why I'm losing those items. And I can attribute that to the move. I remember last time I made a move, it was the same way. You just hope that you're going to have time to get your listings done, but you don't get nearly as many listings completed when your time and energy is pulled away. I can just imagine, those of you who are working full time and maybe you're required to like do mandatory overtime, this, that, and other thing, how it can really make things difficult for you to even list a couple items a day and to keep eBay happy. So trying to get back on track, going to ASD tomorrow. We were supposed to go over the weekend, and ASD, it's a convention where they have not all, but a lot of suppliers, wholesalers there. You can, you're talking jewelry, we're talking, home and garden, electronics, clothing, you name it. They have it all there. And while, of course, we're talking maybe 2 or 3 halls full of vendors, of course, that doesn't even touch it doesn't encompass all the different suppliers out there, but it's a good way to contact and to meet potential suppliers. And last year when Archie and I went, we kind of just went to see what was going on, and we walked around, thought it was kind of cool. This year, I'm going to go with a little bit more of an intention in mind to maybe find 1 or 2 suppliers where I can bring in merchandise to maybe have like that. And this is the perfect scenario as a reseller to have 10 to 20 listings, right? That have just multiples. So, and you're talking about replenishable. So I might order 100 of each particular item. And then as I'm getting low, order more and have an easy way to just continually get that merchandise, and I'm not making any new listings. All I'm doing is updating my quantities, maybe updating my listings if my pricing is too high, that type of thing. I'm sure that would require me to work under smaller margins. Like right now, I'm talking 50 to 60% margin with liquidation. I'm sure that would be kind of cut in half, but you're dealing with more consistent sales and less work. And so that's definitely something that's interesting to me. No One Design says, why is your room pink? I guess it's the purple lighting that I have, and the walls are already like a beige color. So with the limited light coming in, it brings it pink, and it's fine. You know, it's that time of year. NFL's coming. I think the first month they play, they wear pink and all that stuff. So all's good. We'll try to change it up as we go. But it's cool. You have these RGB lights, and they do everything. They do all kinds of effects, and I'm not trying to get that fancy, but I just want to add a little bit of ambiance rather than looking at product like you guys are used to looking at in the past. Don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's good. Simplify says, views and impressions on organic are picking up a bit, not fast enough. So hoping as I list 10 a day, it'll pick up. It'll pick up. You know, it's a numbers game. The more items you list, the more impressions you're going to get. My impressions are down, and I can only say it's probably due to the fact that I have less items that are getting less. Of course, less items. It's less views for your customers to see. And I'm going to work my tail off to get that store back up over 700. That's my goal right now. Victor Wawiorka, thank you for hanging out with us today. No One Design says, has anyone noticed a second offer glitch? You send a $24 offer, but when you hit the send button, eBay takes the first digit out, the 24, and sends a $2 offer. No, I haven't seen that. Be very careful. I mean, I've caught myself when I'm sending offers. Sometimes I'm like 20 or 30, and I'll just go and send an offer, and I'm already in my mind calculating the, for every $10, you're taking $1 off kind of thing in the back of my mind. Actually, for every 20, you're taking $1 off to give that 5% discount. And, I'll be quick with, typing it in and notice, ooh, I'm glad I didn't hit send on that because I would have sent them a low ball offer. What I do notice is how eBay teases you. You click on your selling summary and it says, oh, I've got a pending offer from a buyer, and you click on it and there's nothing there. Anybody get that? I get that all the time, and it makes me just wonder what's going on with eBay. It's definitely a glitch. I see it all the time. Maybe not on the app, but on the computer. Molly says, anyone having issues with payouts? My only issue is my payouts aren't large enough, but I guess that's my fault. But I haven't seen any issues with payouts so far. Elaborate a little bit. Let me know what's going on with your payout if you're having a problem. And then Savage Picker says, Le Moje de Motasse, I guess I have that right, is a French coffee set. Okay. We have some of those French presses. I don't know if that's what it is. We get those all the time. So if that's what we're talking about, but awesome. Tommy Bernard Podcast says, I've had COVID and been sleeping like a bear. Finally starting to get back to semi-normal. Just no energy and congestion left. Wow. Sorry that you're dealing with that. Definitely COVID is not fun. We've had it twice. The first time was pretty bad. The second time wasn't as bad, but I certainly wouldn't want to trade places with you. That's for sure. So yeah, rest easy. But thanks for taking the time, as bad as you might feel. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with us today. Time Traveler Chest, if you accept a best offer, do you send invoice or just let eBay contact them? Not sure best practice. I'm tired as a new seller putting items on hold only to have to pay. Yeah, we give them that discount, right? And then not only do they get the discount, but they get that 4-day layaway plan that your full price buyer doesn't even get the benefit of. What I do is I give my buyer a chance to own up to their end of the deal. If the next day rolls around and I click on awaiting payment and that item is still sitting there, then I will go in and send an invoice and say, hey, please pay for this as soon as you can, that type of thing. But I really don't, I'm not a bill collector, and I don't want to come off that way. So after 4 days, I don't even care. I'm just canceling the deal, and we'll relist the item. And if they want it, they'll have to pay full price because, well, they'll have to pay full price from someone else because the next step I do is block that buyer. That's for sure. Newtman66, if sales are slow, do you recommend promoting some listings, specifically auctions? Okay, so I launched a couple auctions today. Some items that after the 30 days, I've recognized as being in my store for quite some time. Launch those as what my cost was, with really, if it sells, great. If it doesn't, I just have this hunch that it does help my sell through rate, and so I'm happy with that. But I would recommend adding promoted listings for any listing that you have at least 15 people you're competing with over the same item. Because if you have any less than 15, you're still on page one, and you're just dealing with, is your listing attractive? Are you dealing with a good price? How are your photos? Is it, did it look like you just did the like a 40-yard dash right in front of your item as you click the photo button? I've seen listings like that before, and I just scratched my head going, was this person just in a hurry, or were they really serious about selling their item? As far as things that you can do, promotions, certainly you got to play eBay's game. You can even ask Tommy, he'll tell you promotions are where it's at. I like to take it a step further. If you have over 100 items in your store, start looking into the idea of getting a store. I utilize the coupon, the public coupon. It puts a big red thing right there when they're looking at your item, take an additional 15% off. When they look at your item, it's right there at the top, tells them what code to use. And that's intriguing to people. It's like, wow, this is $24.99. I can get another 15% off. Photos look good. Listing looks good. This looks like the item I need. Boom. Okay. I learned last month, after about a week of really dead sales, and then I realized, and I made a video about it, I forgot to launch a markdown sale. That was last month. And as soon as I did, within 48 hours, my sales were back to normal, and just couldn't believe it. So it's really not one thing that you can do. You really need to look at a combination of different things. And I think I look at a lot of stores. People ask me to check out their stores once in a while, and I do, and I'm happy to do it. And it's funny. I'll spend time looking at their stores. I'll write this detailed, you need to work on this. I would change this. I would do this, do that, the other thing. Half the time, I don't even get a reply. So I don't know if I do it in a constructive way. I tell them, you did well here, keep doing this, but you may want to consider doing that. And it's, I don't know how they receive the feedback. If maybe they're even appreciative of it or not. But I'm always happy to do it if possible. Biff Boffo, bulk editing is good advice, but I had thousands of items tossed in the wrong categories, so I had to really take a look at everything. Yeah, I mean, if you have one item that belongs in this category, and you have another item that belongs in this category, and they make all these changes, I mean, you might have to change one category on this listing, but maybe you don't have to change this one at all. And it's just a time suck that you shouldn't have to be dealing with. My thing is, look, if they want to start changing categories, they need to develop a way to say, okay, I think this garden item needs to go into this category. Let's add more categories if that's what they want to do. But with the process, let's go ahead and automatically change your listing, to meet the best category. Now, I think some people would throw their arms up in the air and not like that, but it's less work. If it finds the right category, it's less work to me than if they make sellers to stop what they're doing and go in and fix their categories. So this is my thought on that. Got Ed, the reselling writer, in the house. Hey, John and everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I appreciate that. Biscuit Butt says, I was in my skivvies and you wouldn't let me show up that way to feast. Amen. You do you. All I know is that I made some great barbecue. I wish I could show you guys. It was pretty good. And I still have leftovers that was meant for Archie, but I'll be having that for dinner tonight. So sorry about that, man. Next time. We'll have to do it next time. Kevin is in the house. Kevin Hawthorne, good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Let's see. Tommy says humidity is the main thing to worry about. That dry heat should be fine. So if you have a question about having stuff stored in a hot garage, certainly out here in Vegas, unless it's something that can melt, you're okay. Let's see. Biscuit Butt says, one day I will start cross-listing. Tired of John lecturing me about it. But the results are there. I mean, I'm selling. I think I have like 900 in sales this last month on Mercari. And I haven't even transferred the money over. I've left it in my Mercari account. I just like seeing it build up, build up, build up. And it really is, to me, more of more proof to myself that cross-listing is really worth the time. I don't care if you do it manually. I don't care if you use Prime Lister, the one I use, but start getting that done. I got to tell you, if you think that eBay is the only way to make money, that's a mistake. There's a lot of opportunities on other platforms. I mean, if you sell clothing, you can use Poshmark. You do collectibles. You should already be on Etsy. But really, it's a mistake if you don't look into cross-listing if you're trying to increase your sales. I mean, I talked to a number of people. They say, you know what? I don't have time, or I just don't have a desire to cross-list because I'm killing it on eBay. Well, everything I say on this channel, if you're killing it on eBay, then there really is no reason to do anything different. Keep doing what you do. But if you're looking for ways to get more eyes on your items and to make sales, there's a different kind of customer over at Mercari than there is on eBay. And I think it's because my theory is because you're competing with you're competing with drop shippers on eBay, and you're not competing with drop shippers on Mercari. And while the traffic is lower on Mercari, the competition is fewer. And again, I have $900 in my account, more than I probably would have had because those were dog items on eBay that weren't selling in the first place. Ed says, this heat has really slowed me down. I've had one heat stroke already, and I really don't want to have another. I'll photograph when I can, but I still do shipping, but my garage is so hot. Ed, man, don't let your health get affected by your listing. I went and got one of those portable AC units, and it has one of those hoses that with the little adapter that's supposed to go into your window. Well, I have that maybe a 2 foot by 1 foot rectangle on the side of my garage with the little grate on the other side, and I have that pipe rigged to interface with that to blow the hot air out from the AC unit, and it works. I'm more comfortable. It's not the perfect situation, still a little bit warm in there, but you know what? I'm actually able to spend hours in there where I was only able to spend maybe 20-30 minutes at a time, stop, come inside, cool off, do other tasks, and that can be disrupting. So I can definitely see where you're coming from. It's worth the investment, I think. And I mean, my yard sale paid for it, so I guess it's easier said than done. But it's definitely worth the investment, and it's an investment in your business, so you can write it off at the end of the year. Noah Design 2, hey Archie, have you thought about doing a podcast or radio? You got the voice for what I hear in your YouTube shorts, unless that was auto-tuned. You know what? I was joking with Archie. I told him that he kind of sounds creepy. And I guess that's being mean, but he said, the other day, I'm going to make another video. I said, are you going to use the creepy voice? So yeah, you got to listen to it. Check out Biscuit Butt on YouTube and help that guy get his viewership up. You know what? Here's the thing with Archie. The man can find stuff like there's no tomorrow. He can find stuff to sell. That guy has a nose for stuff. And he'll contact me all the time and I found this, I found that. And sometimes I'm like, man, how do you find that? But you know what? He's never going to have an issue finding stuff to resell because he just has a nose for it. And you know what? As he gets his channel established, he's going to go from shorts to long stuff. I promise you it's going to be pretty good content. And I'm not just saying that because he's my friend. I know who we're dealing with. So check out his channel. If you can give him a little bit of support, go subscribe. I would appreciate that. Yelena says, we don't leave feedback unless buyer does. Made a sale to a buyer who left 9 negatives in the past 6 months. I was glad not to get feedback from him. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, why would you wake a sleeping bear? I mean, for instance, you're a seller and this buyer hasn't left you feedback. Well, there's sellers out there who will contact the buyer and say, why haven't you left me feedback? Well, sometimes you don't want that feedback because it may not be positive. I don't bother. I don't get into that business. To me, no feedback is just as good as feedback. I don't care about that number. You know, if one day it gets over 100,000, then it gets over 100,000. I don't get a discount for. It's not like I'm on YouTube asking you guys to subscribe on eBay. I mean, the number of feedbacks I get on eBay does me no good. On YouTube, the number of subscribers I get, the number of likes, it certainly helps the channel. So while you're at it, hit the like button and subscribe. I certainly would appreciate it. I feel like in this new environment, I'm going to be able to make so many more videos. Like yesterday, I made a video just on a whim. I was out there listing. I don't know if you saw the video or not, but it's about stock photos and how I do utilize stock photos until eBay takes care of the drop shipping competition. Why allow them to have an avenue of success that I don't get or you don't get? So I have no problem with it if done right. So I found a situation that I said this would be a perfect video opportunity, made a video, and whereas at the other place I wouldn't have been able to really do that because I just had it just convoluted the way I had it set up. But I really feel like this is the setup right now in my garage that I should have had for quite some time. Biff says, I'm blaming the slow second half of August on back to school. Well, it depends on what you sell, because there's people that right now who are selling clothing and shoes who are like, this is great. Back to school is absolutely perfect. It's a great time of year for certain categories, and others it's really not. And then Not Sure says it's mauve. Well, it's not white, and it looks beige to me, tannish, but mauve will work too. Or are you talking about mauve as far as not being pink behind me? So it doesn't matter. I think it kind of adds to the ambiance. I like it. Let me know what you guys think I should do differently in the background here, and I'll try to make that happen. Dat Mixed Nut says neutral feedback. What the hell? They should get rid of this. Yeah, it's to me, it's a weak way of leaving a negative feedback. I mean, I certainly prefer the neutral to the negative. Anytime a buyer leaves a neutral or negative, in my opinion, eBay should make that buyer maybe put a pop-up that says, look, before you leave this negative feedback, please send or contact your buyer. I mean, contact your seller. They want us to contact our buyers all the time, right? When we have a problem. So contact your seller and try to resolve it with them first. If within 24 hours, your problem still isn't resolved, then you'll be able to leave this negative feedback. I think that would be perfect. You're not prohibiting that buyer from leaving a negative feedback, but you're forcing the buyer to reach out to the seller to try to resolve whatever the problem is. So many times you'll get a neutral or negative feedback, and this buyer didn't even bother to say, hey, I have an issue here. They just left it. And another problem I have with the feedback system is eBay is treating our performance, our feedback, it's kind of coupling it in with the quality of the item. So the item may have, it might not be the best quality, but you're choosing to buy a third-party Chinese brand, for instance, and you get it and you say, well, it wasn't the color I was expecting. It wasn't the quality I was hoping for. And you're leaving this, and you're encouraging the buyer, because if you look at the feedback screen, it's asking the buyer, how is the quality of the product? This, that, and the other thing. And I just think it's kind of leading the buyer to leave a detrimental feedback, if that makes sense. No One Design 2. Lately, I'm getting an influx of drop shippers for the past 3 days. 93% of my sales were from drop shippers, all with messages, no invoice. I don't mind the drop shippers. See, here's the thing. I did drop shipping before. That's why I have an eye for it. I did drop shipping before on my other account. This is when I was full time. I remember that I would take listings from Home Depot, and I'd use the software. And because of my zip code in California, I got a great deal on these power washers. In fact, cheaper. And the way Home Depot does it is their items are priced differently by your zip code. Okay, so if you're looking at their website and you're looking at it from one zip code, someone else in a different zip code can be looking at the same item and they will be seeing a different price, believe it or not. So I was killing this power washer. I was really making about $10 to $15 per power washer, and that's operating at like a 5 to 10% margin. Now that doesn't seem like it's killing it, but I was selling a lot. I mean, throughout the day, I was selling a lot. And then I had to go on a work trip to Florida for about a month and a half. And I brought the laptop, was continuing to do the business, but yet it detected I was in Florida. And now the price of that power washer went up and I was no longer able to make a killing. Even though I would sell a power washer, right? I'd still have it priced low. I would call Home Depot and say, look, it's coming up on your site at this price. Was able to get some reps to do it for me. Wasn't able to get some reps not to. But I got out of the business of drop shipping when I started to see how some of these YouTube channels that promoted drop shipping were talking about sellers getting shut down, losing their accounts. And I've been selling for many years, and I didn't want to lose my account. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to stop drop shipping. And, I think it's, for some, if done right, it's actually a pretty good business model. But the problem is you get so many people, and you get a lot of people from overseas that drop ship and aren't even supposed to be selling on eBay US, but they do. They have VPNs and things like that. But every power washer that is a drop shipped item that is available for sale, you have a legitimate power washer you're trying to get out of your garage, maybe you picked up in a liquidation lot. It's harder for you to sell because it's harder to compete. And that's why, from my perspective now, I certainly I wish eBay would do away with most drop shipping, but someone buying my item to resell, flip on Amazon, more power to you. Lori Brackemeyer says, have you noticed the show original title not showing after the sales and eBay listings? I keep wondering what the purpose of this feature is. I haven't seen that. I'm not familiar. Maybe somebody in the chat can take a look and see what you're referring to, but I haven't noticed that. Yelena says, no reason not to pay right away. Buyer decided the price willing to pay. eBay needs to fix that. Right. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, why not just give your full price buyer the layaway program? It just doesn't make sense how you can get a deal and a 4-day grace period before you have to pay for it. Ping G says, Lori, I have noticed that there can't be that many sellers that change their titles once they post a listing. I do. There's times that I'll be quick about it. I'm piggybacking off of another listing, sell similar, and I'll just get the listing done. I'll come in here from the garage and I'll go through the listings and I'll be like, why did I launch the listing with that title? And I'll go in and I'll tweak the titles. So I do that quite often. Savage Picker says, my son went to SneakerCon in Washington, DC, and eBay had their authentication team there for a fee, of course. Wow. I don't think that if they're already charging you a fee to get in, there shouldn't be a fee to learn about that service. I mean, wouldn't you want to share your service with, the rest of the reselling community in hopes that someone would be inspired to say, you know what, I'm going to start selling sneakers, right? That's what they're really trying to push. I don't know. I'm not surprised with eBay feeing people in any way they can, though. Let's see. Reigning Retro, North Carolina. I'm from NC. Question on promoting listings. I've had one campaign automated for all at 1.5% over trending. Now, how do I set up with new campaigns to only promote items with competition like you suggest? There really isn't. You have to do the homework on each item. And you have to, I think after a while you get a feel for, I'm selling earbuds. And so I've never come across a listing where I've had only 15 or less to compete against me. So I'm going to just always promote this type of listing. Let's say I have a rare patch, like those military patches on that store that have the patches, and I'm actually putting the records. I'm actually going through those 800 records now. I'm not, it's all organic. I'm not doing any promoted listings. That's no promotions, no sales. I think I have a public or a private coupon that I did send. It's only like 5% that I did send to people who bought before from me, because I'm getting a lot of repeat buyers on that account. And we'll just see how it goes. But there is really no way for you to do it, just to have an idea in your mind. Do some research. Look at, if I have a bunch of this type of item, take a few of them and look up your competition and see what you're competing against, and sort of assume that if I have low competition for these, I probably have low competition for the rest of them. And, the opposite. If I have high competition for these 3 that I pulled out of this batch of 100, chances are I'm going to have high competition for those as well. And another thing, if your item can be found on Amazon.com, chances are very high that you're going to have competition just from drop shippers that you're competing against. So you should use it there as well. Happy and joyful. Leave a positive feedback comment. Prompt payment immediately when the customer pays. I'm so grateful for prompt paying customers. Many have reciprocated when they receive their order. Wonderful job. Yeah. But, for me, it's like this. I have it set up to where, I think there's 2 ways to do it. I think set up to where once they pay and once they leave feedback. And for me, it's just the transaction isn't over until they've left the positive feedback, because they can come at you. They receive your item, right? And now they're playing the game of, well, I received your item and there's this wrong with the item. And they come back at you with, what would you like to do about it, right? They don't ask how to return the item. They're intending on keeping the item, and then they want you to give a little kickback back to them so that they, and they don't even come out and say it, because I think most buyers are wise to it now. But they don't even mention the feedback that they're going to leave for you. But that's the elephant in the room. We all know what they mean. And for me, I'm not leaving a positive feedback until that transaction's over, for that reason. Let's see. Happy and joyful. Wonderful job, John, with your videos. Thank you. I appreciate it. Always trying to improve in everything I do. I'm sure there's a lot more I can improve with even the lives or the other videos that I put out. But just know that I'm working hard to do that for you. And it's with your all's feedback that's really helped me make these changes. And Ed says, I'll probably invest in it, the AC unit. Can't wait for winter, where I'll definitely be able to work more. I love the cold, way more productive. And I lived in California, and it's not as bad as Las Vegas, but it can still get hot all the way into November. And you will be happy that you did. And you know what? This time of year, I think people are going to start blowing out their stock of AC units. Whereas, let's say May and June, they're getting ready to sell those AC units they've been holding on to. So you might be able to get a deal from somebody who's willing to move away from maybe some stock that they haven't been able to sell. Let's see. Yard Sales and Dreams says, hello from Kentucky, everyone. Hello. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Newtman66 says, is 74,000 organic impressions good for the last 30 days? It's all relative to how many items you have in your store. For me, my performance, my traffic, if I'm looking at it, we're talking about like now 570 listings. And I think for the last 30 days, you said you're at 74,000 impressions. I'm at 2.7 million impressions on my account. Now, of that, I would have to say we're talking organic impressions. I'm not really able to do it this quickly on this screen, but I'm probably at, if we're dealing with organic impressions, probably somewhere about a third of that. So maybe around 800,000 to 900,000. Again, that's based on what I'm selling. See, a lot of times people watch these videos, they'll watch what like a Daily Refinement's doing, or they'll watch what this guy's doing, and they'll try to compare their situation, the items they're selling, what their sales are as compared to what they're seeing on the YouTube. And then they feel like they failed, if they don't meet those high expectations. And a lot of times on these channels, you're not going to hear a lot of failures. This is going to be, oh, I succeeded here, I did this, here's my numbers for that. And it maybe leads some people to feeling like they're not doing a good job. To me, if your sales aren't where you want them, then there's a number of things you can do to increase your sales and to make more money. If you're happy with your impressions, the last 30 days, you're making good sales, keep trying to make some changes to improve, but don't get too worried about it. There's a lot of different reasons why your organic impressions or any impressions can be at the level that they are. I just think, watching channels like this, adapting things that seem to work for others, try those things, but don't expect the same results because, again, we're not all selling the same stuff. Let's see. Biff Boffo says, I'd say the walls are more of a dusty rose. Just my opinion. Okay, well, dusty rose. Next time it'll be a different color because whatever I have going on these lights will interact with the beige color walls and will make a different color. Let's see. Carl Becker, I got a positive feedback, but it was a negative to me as the buyer said I gave full refund for a supposedly non-working new item. Might as well have put my target on my back. But Carl, go into the feedback removal tool. You cannot leave a false positive. So if it's a negative within a positive feedback field or something negative, then that needs to come down and eBay should help you with that. Newtman, the number of impressions without knowing the whole picture is not answerable. It really isn't. And, I can only tell you what I'm doing. But again, if you compare your numbers to what I'm doing, what Tommy's doing, or what someone else is doing, then you're going to, you're really going to add more confusion than answer any questions as far as I'm concerned. Malgarzata, I can't even speak today. Malgorzata Blanco. John, you need to transfer the money from Mercari. If they mistakenly block your account, they'll freeze your money. I was thinking about that. I've read some stories about that type of thing happening, and you're probably right. I need to probably do that as soon as we get done here. It's just nice watching it build up. It says it's dead in my clothing. Promotion isn't happening. Maybe eBay is promoting high end. Saw the drop off in August 1st. I'm taking a break for a week. Mental health break as eBay is driving me nuts. Yeah, guys, I'll be honest with you. This morning, I'm doing my shipping, my residual shipping. Get out in the garage. I'm going through it. And I just had one of those moments where I was like, why am I doing all this? I mean, I wanted to just quit everything. I'll be honest with you. Just had one of those moments. And it wasn't a good place for me to be. No reason. It just, you kind of start thinking and looking around and, you see the drop in sales and that's because of the fact that I've been so busy around the house. So there's reasons for it. You start doing what some people do, start looking at other YouTube channels and, feeling like you're not really up to where you need to be, or you start looking at your own eBay store, you start feeling overwhelmed about everything. And, because unfortunately, the way I'm wired, I don't really take breaks. I'm just always on the go from the time I get up to the time I go to sleep. And rarely do I take times. Like the other day, I went and played golf for 3 hours, came home exhausted, took a 30-minute nap and got back to work. I don't know how to change that. It's just the way I am. And sometimes it's kind of demoralizing. I'm just being honest. So as far as your account, I think you just got to keep listing. That's the bottom line. And understand that you might be dead with a certain type of item, but there's always an answer. There's always a reason to it. And I think sometimes if we look deep enough into what's causing our sales to be slow, because I think the sales are out there, you'll find the answer. You'll find, like, hey, I forgot to promote my listings, or I forgot to start a campaign this month. There's answers out there. You just got to be willing to take the time. And you know what? You're going to have moments where you need that mental health break or whatever, or you just feel down about what's going on. You just got to get back up. Monday, Motivation Monday. I didn't put it in the title, but heck, even people like me need to be motivated. And you have those thoughts that creep in the back of your mind, and you just got to get past it. Malgorzata Blanco says, I buy an auction. The waiting time is good for combining the shipping. Yeah, if you have that type of item, again, the collectors are different than regular everyday buyers, in my opinion. And I'm more apt to, I don't think I have a single listing that has an instant payment policy for that account. And people are good about paying. Let's see. Lori says, thanks for the info. Show original title is showing next to the title of all my active listings, even new listings that were created from scratch today. I think it's confusing distraction for the buyer. Are you using the new tool, the new listing tool? I continue to revert back to the old one. Now, on my old account or my secondary account, I don't even have the option, but eBay has given me the option on my main account. So that may be why I haven't seen it. It's a huge time sink. I think that we're talking about the item specifics and things like that. It certainly is. Art Betzold says, when promoted, what is the difference between organic and promoted views? And how does eBay tell what view is what? So, and I've uncovered this on some of my listings. eBay, I think, has gone back to the practice of listing your item twice. One is promoted, if you're promoted, and one organically. Now, I might be wrong, but I have come across some listings in some categories where that's actually still happening. They supposedly did away with that to where if you're promoted, you're either going to see the promoted listing or the organic listing, right? Which is the same listing, it's just how it's treated. Now, if you're not promoted, so if like a third of the time my organic listing shows up and not the promoted, you can count on the fact that your listing's going to come up in that same manner because you're not promoting. You are relying on that organic listing to show up, but eBay is only going to put it in search results like 30-40% of the time. I may be wrong, but it won't be very high because you're competing against a lot of other listings. That's why I think promoted listings has an importance. I think there's an importance. eBay wants that extra money. It's part of the game, is what they're putting out there. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. And just in my opinion, eBay throttles our accounts. We have 500, 600, 1,000 good listings. eBay is trying to gauge what you can handle. And that's based on your behavior, your account health, and this, that, and another thing. They feed your traffic to buyers. Now, they can't control if a buyer buys your items. That's why some days I'll have low sales days, but my traffic is still there, right? So all they can do is give you traffic based on if you play their game. And after that, it's just a matter of having quality listings and having what the buyer is looking for. Newtman 66, I have 300 listings. I don't have a store, just use 250 free listings a month. And that's fine, but the store is not all that expensive. I think it's like $4.95, $5.95 a month for the basic store. And that's if you agree to have the store for a year. I can tell you this, if you have a coupon set up, and you can only do that with the store, you have markdown listings, you only have that as a store, you're going to make that money back just from having the boost from those two things, in my opinion. No One Design 2 says impressions are subjective and differ from store to store. I agree with that. Tommy says because if the eBay chooses to promote the listings, the organic is hidden, or vice versa. Just because we promote all of them, eBay decides whether to promote or not based on a number of factors, a large number of factors. Biff Bothwell says impressions are just window shoppers. Page views are the people who walk into the store. Yes, they're the people that. So an impression is walking past that rack of clothing, right? You kind of look over, you see that there's sweaters there, and maybe a couple in that rack kind of catch your eye, but you keep walking, right? A page view is actually stopping, taking a look at the sweater, maybe pulling it off the rack. And then either you're going to put it in your shopping cart or you're going to put it back. And that's a page view that didn't work out, right? The same kind of thing if you want to look at it like that. No One Design says, hit the like button. Let's make John's wall color Summer's Eve. What? What is that color? So we have 90 people watching. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. Raining Retro, North Carolina. Lots of states do back to school tax free weekend in August. probably pushes those people to local stores those weekends, but should be done by now. That's interesting. That I would say that, but here's the thing. You go to a store, you buy this particular item you're looking for at a store, you're paying full retail. Okay, so you're not paying 7-8% tax on that. But for that same item on eBay, you're saving maybe 10, 15, 20% off of retail. And so what? You're paying taxes on that. If we're looking at the math, you're still saving money on eBay. I don't know. It's tough to say. Again, whenever I get slow sales, I don't look at the outcome. We don't want to be results oriented. Okay. I only sold 2 items today, therefore I'm failing. If we look at it that way, we're not looking at the whole picture. Look at our traffic. Do we have a traffic drop off? I can tell you by looking at my impressions. From the 13th of August to the 17th of August, I was under 75,000 impressions a day. Okay. It wasn't for the last 4 days. My impressions have gone closer to 100,000, which explains why I didn't have the greatest sales week last week. There's times that I'll have 100,000 impressions, and for me, that's pretty good, but I'll only make 1 or 2 sales. So it's, to me, more about the traffic eBay is sending your way. What are you doing with the opportunities that eBay is sending your way? If you are getting the traffic and you're not getting the sales, something's wrong. And there's only 2 things that could be wrong. Either your item sucks or there's something wrong with your listing. You're not doing enough with your listing, promoting it, marketing it, coupons, or maybe your photos suck, your title's out of whack, you're not getting high enough ranking in search because your title isn't there. Maybe you're getting seen on the bottom of page 1 when you should be in the middle of page 1. A lot of times people want to blame it on eBay instead of blaming it on, and I see these stores all the time when people reach out to me. Hey, if you do this differently, you're probably going to see a different result. But they blame eBay over blaming that there could be something different, something wrong with their store. Tommy says, it's always our fault. Whenever you think slow sales are not your fault, list an iPhone. Bet it sells. Passing the blame is just for self-pity. And I'll add to that, Tommy. Sell the iPhone. This is a challenge I have for anyone to disprove what Tommy says, okay? Put your iPhone on the counter. Do the fastest sprint past your iPhone while you're taking a photo. Take 3 or 4 photos while you're running past so you get that blur image, right? List your iPhone within the market price. I mean, if you sell it for double, you're not going to sell it. But put a fair price, crappy photo, just a generic title, and see if you sell that item or not. I'm willing to bet that you will. So option 1, your items might suck. Option 2, you might not be playing eBay's game. See, eBay puts, we're playing Monopoly without the rules. eBay's asking you to figure it out. So you're rolling the dice. You don't know whether or not to buy property on Baltic Avenue or buy hotels on Baltic Avenue or not. You decide to mortgage your property when you probably shouldn't because eBay hasn't told you how to play the game. You're trying to figure this out on your own. But what I'm telling you, what Tommy's telling you, is that there's a lot of things that you could be doing. And I think sometimes we're either afraid to promote our listings. We're afraid to go and pay that $5-6 a month for a store to have those features. And we miss out a lot of potential sales because of it. No One Designs says, totally agree, Tommy. Not a lot of people want to own up to their faults. I've learned this lesson way back when I first opened my store in '99. A close friend of mine once said about 1.5 years ago, I think eBay hates me because I'm not getting sales. Why would they hate you? Maybe they hate the item you're selling. So maybe they hate you because you're trying to flip junk on their platform. Maybe they hate you because you're not properly promoting your listings. Maybe they hate you because your photos suck. Maybe they hate you because your prices are too high. And maybe they hate you because your account health is not good. Maybe you're late on all your shipments, and maybe you have about 20 defects on your account. Maybe they do hate you, but you have the ability to get them to like you. Okay. So I definitely had to mention that. That's fitting for this conversation. Art says, I was checking my listings today and some had more views in organic than promoted. And that's possible. It certainly is. Chai Charon, I do 8,000 in sales a month on eBay, 95% US silver coins. I just cleaned out my hallway closet and sold $350 in purses and hats in 24 hours. Bottom line, change it up a little bit for fun. Sure. Got all those records. I mean, I've bought patches, right? I do get out of my comfort zone, and you'll be surprised just the things that you learn just from trying to sell something new. I mean, I'm dealing with 1960s, 1970s albums, and it's like, okay, why is the comps on this album like 40, 50 bucks, in VG condition? I've never even heard of this band before, but you'll be surprised what you learn. That's for sure. Raining Retro, another promoted listing question. If you run comps and decide you want to promote an item, do you do it from the listing or from the marketing tab? I do it inside the listing. The marketing tab allows you to go in and bulk edit or bulk promote a lot of your listings. I just do it as I go. I set a certain price for most of my items, or a certain promoted listing for most of my items when I'm initially launching it. If after 30 days it's about to recycle and it's coming back, it hasn't sold, I'll go in and do a sell similar, and I'll then do a higher promoted rate just to get it going. I'm doing a lot more stuff, being more aggressive to get it to sell. No One Design 2, you can directly from a new listing or from the campaign. Yeah, that's correct. Beth says, I guess I missed a lot of this. I'll have to watch the replay. Watch the replay. Certainly, there's a lot of good stuff on this live stream, so I appreciate that. No One Design 2 says, owning and running a business is money. So why do people still go into business? Because the benefit that comes along with owning a business, and just like many mobile games, it's a pay to play. And I don't have a boss to answer to. I don't have to do all kinds of craziness. If it flips, it ships, says, yo. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Semperfi says, today I have 11,000 organic versus 3,000 promoted impressions, but 22 views, or 22 watchers. So you should have, or actually page views. So if you're getting a lot of traffic, eBay's putting you in search, then you really need to focus on the quality of your listings. Why aren't they clicking on your item? That's the question you have to answer yourself. Raining Retro says, new topic. If you're parting out a game so shipping is all about the same, would you list as one listing with variations or a separate listing for each piece? I'm intrigued by the variations. I've seen exactly what you're talking about, and there's some listings like that. I would try the variations because they're looking for that, let's say, Monopoly game, and they're looking for the boardwalk card or whatever, and they might say, oh, I might need more hotels, right? So they're in that listing. Captain Photon says, they just changed my listing tool. I don't like it. How do you go back to the old listing? The top of the page listing tool, you'll see 3 dots. Click on that, and it should drop down. Now, for my main account, they don't give me the option. On my second account, they don't give me the option. On my main account, they do. I toggle back and forth to add videos to my listings from time to time. Well, guys, we're getting to that time. I did not hear my mail carrier come to the house, and that concerns me. We're at almost 4:40 p.m., and I need to haul butt over to the post office with a big Santa bag full of items that need to be shipped. So I just want to thank you guys for taking the time today. I gave you virtually no notice, like 3 hours, and yet we have almost 100 people watching the video. Like we talk about, item specifics are going to be changing. Some categories are going to be changing. And it's something that I guess we've grown used to. But it's yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent start to your week. You will hear from me very soon. I'll be at ASD tomorrow. Hoping to have some stuff for you from there. But until then, have a great rest of your week, everyone.